Well, welcome again, everybody. I'm your panel host. I'm Eric Walker. Go ahead and introduce yourself, everybody.
Hello, I'm Tracey Thompson, and I'm the author of our book, My Journey to Endor, and Kevin's wife.
I'm Kevin Thompson. I'm the subject of the book, My Journey to Endor, and Tracy's husband.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Hiroshi Kanatani from Japan. I'm a Japanese manga artist, so I draw this cover.
Nice artwork. Let's go ahead and Kevin or Tracy, you both could elaborate on this. What was your inspiration for? This is a stupid question, but what's your inspiration? What made you want to write this book?
Well, it was during the pandemic, and so Hollywood had shut down. We were both been in the business for 35 years. And so I always heard Kevin's stories, whether we were in the market or wherever we went, and Kevin saw like somebody wearing a Star Wars shirt.
He's wearing a Star Wars shirt. He's wearing a Star Wars shirt.
And I'd say, no, we're just going in to get milk, and then we're getting out. And he's like,
I was in that movie.
Yeah, and he always had to say something, and I'm like, oh, now we're going to be here another hour and talk about Star Wars. So he always would write little Post-its about his time filming Return of the Jedi. And so we decided during the pandemic to leave a legacy for our son. We have a son who is now 30, and we wanted to make sure we passed on all these stories. So we ended up sitting down, and for 4 years, it really took us from start to finish. We hired an editor, and a lot of beta readers, a lot of arguments, and a lot of
arguments.
Yeah, because we speak differently, as you'll see during this panel. It's Kevin's. It's about his time,
Sure.
But it's also in my writing, and sometimes I had to poke and prod Kevin. I'm like, it's gotta. When you're in the redwood forest, well, what does it taste like? What does it smell like? I'm more descriptive.
Dirt.
And so he would just say dirt and hot. And I would say, no, there's a smell to the forest. There's a sound to the forest. So it was really a learning experience, even after 37 years of marriage, learning about each other and writing a book together. So it was quite a process, but it was definitely rewarding.
I had started out kind of trying to be like the stunt man of testosterone driven, and I was do this, and this is tough. And it was very tough, but I was tough. And Tracy finally said, there's no kids in here, right? She goes, I hate to say it, but you sound like an asshole. No one wants to read this book because, it's just not. And so she found more of the character because she knew who I was, especially at that time. We started dating right after I had finished Return of the Jedi. In fact, she was my date. One of our very first dates was to the premiere of Return of the Jedi. So she's been hearing these stories forever, and she knew that I was scared to death with doing these things. It was more like Toby joins a circus. And so that's the character that she brought out of more of I had a fictitious idea of myself doing these things, and Tracy brought more of what I was really feeling to that. So when Tracy would put that on the page, I was like, that was what I was feeling, and it became much more colorful because you're following this young man's journey just because of doing these stunts that he had never thought of before he got to the Endor forest. I had no idea what a Russian swing was, or to jump on to crash pads and mini tramps and all sorts of things like that. It was just a new experience every day.
Hiroshi, tell us a little bit about your artwork.
Okay. Sorry, my English is so limited, so.
We'll help you.
We'll help.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. I do my best.
Yes.
I just need a translator, but I do my best. I met Kevin several years ago in Florida, right? Yes. Pensacola, yes. So I'm very honored to meet him. So I told him If I draw artwork tonight, would you take my art? He said, okay. So I draw this art for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe. So
Maybe it was quick.
It was
Yeah.
quick. It was quicker than that. He came out and drew this so fast.
And it was beautiful.
thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Yes, what we had done, how we met Hiroshi, it was right after Pensacola,
before COVID,
Pensacon,
right?
right before COVID. But there had been a terror attack, and so they had closed a lot of the different bases. But Hiroshi is really interested in World War II aircraft, and he was going to be doing some artwork where you wanted to find that true. You were taking pictures of all the World War II aircraft, and so we tagged along actually with him.
It was the Blue Angels Museum in Florida. So we ended up touring with Hiroshi to the museum at the Blue Angels, right?
It was
And we
very
were
good time.
taking fun photos back and forth of each other, so we were bonding. And so as we finished the thing, I said, I had such a great time. I'm going to give Hiroshi a signed auto, a picture. And so without him even asking for it, and I signed a picture. I said, here's a photo for you. And you were so grateful. You were so happy. You were so very much. He runs away, and we kind of went,
We're like, uh-oh. Where'd he
that's
go?
that's a different experience. So where'd he go with my photo? Usually people, talk. We've been talking all day, so I guess he comes back down with this within I want to see. He says 3 hours. It was like a half hour. It was quick.
It was quick and beautiful. And we were so honored and touched because we're so used to giving and not receiving it at cons and things. And so when we get this gift of just gorgeousness, we had it in our home. And so when we were deciding with our book, and we wanted a book cover, and we already have an artist in our family, but Hiroshi really caught the character of Chubre. And so we asked him if we could use that as our book cover, and he said yes.
Graciously agreed.
And it was such an honor for us.
No, I'm more. It was an honor for me.
It's just a love fest up
I
here.
know, we just-
I was very surprised. So you contact me to use my art for
yeah.
cover. So very
That's a
surprised.
beautiful story. It's a great friendship.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
it
it
is
is
great.
a great friendship, and that's why when we're at cons together, it's such a great opportunity for people to have all three of us together. So you have the author, the actor, and the artist. So it's just a neat.
We haven't
Unique.
been in
Three
one of these cons
signatures.
together.
That's
Yes,
great.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
it hasn't.
Triple
We
signature.
haven't been at a con together. You've been at different cons that we have, and we've been at different cons that you haven't been. So this is just one of those that all three of us are here, and it's a kismet.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about your book? Is it just only the Endor journey, or do you talk about other stuff you were in, Kevin? Or
We talk about a little bit of how I was as a child growing up, because as a little person, it's a very unique childhood, because both Tracey and I come from families that we're the only little people in that family. And most little people are born to average-sized parents. And so I have I come from a family of 8, 5 brothers and sisters, and Tracey comes from an average-sized sister and average-sized parents too. So in those things, a lot of times little things have to be changed because we're just a little different than our brothers and sisters. But we don't believe we are. We believe we are just like our brothers
siblings,
and sisters.
Yeah. So being raised in an average-sized family, we do everything our siblings did, and so which is good because it made us stronger. And
Sure.
So this book takes you through Kevin's childhood and creative play with his brothers and sisters, and then how everything kind of ties together, and how we believe that it's amazing when you look back at your life how it brought you to where you are now. So this book is about his childhood, his siblings, and about overcoming obstacles, which is it's
Yeah, it's
making
part. Yeah,
Jedi,
sure.
so, and making him strong. So it's an interesting read. It's almost like somebody said, this is a hero's journey, really. It's and it really is. It's about overcoming those obstacles.
Sure. It's kind of like
Because-
the whole theme behind Star Wars.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I was just in school. I was a gymnast and a wrestling team, and then also on in the drama department. So, as in one of the chapters in the book, is called an athletic theater geek. And then in college, I started taking mime, and so those were the two of the things that George Lucas and J.R. Randall, the stunt coordinator, were really interested in. Because after the audition for Jedi, he came up and said, "Are you really a gymnast and a mime?" And I went, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "We'll be talking." And he didn't, I noticed that he had never said that to anybody else who had auditioned that day, because I auditioned against 40 other little people. And he came up after the audition, came right out to me and said that. And so it was like, wow, this made me look good. Maybe this is great. This could be a good thing. But you can't get too excited until your name is on it. And we auditioned for a movie called Blue Harvest. Anybody see Blue Harvest? Blue Harvest was the code name for Return of the Jedi, or Revenge of the Jedi. And that was on we had shirts, we had hats, so it was on all the banners of where to go anywhere, so nobody would know that it was Return of the Jedi.
Do you talk about other roles you played in there as well?
Just Under the Rainbow and Blade Runner,
Right.
because Blade Runner was my very first line. Home again, jiggity jig. Good. Home again, jiggity jig. Good evening, Jeff.
Nice. Where can they get the book?
They can get it at our table with my signature, Tracy's signature, and Hiroshi's. And Hiroshi is actually offering a sketch inside the book. Right there, he will do a sketch for at this con only. So if you don't buy the book now, you don't get the sketch.
I can.
And then you can also, if you decide and procrastinate and all that, you can get it on Amazon. Or talk to your local book dealer and have them order it for you.
Awesome. Okay. Anybody have any questions for Kevin or Tracy or Hiroshi?
Yeah.
When you initially auditioned, were you already a Star Wars fan yourself? Were you?
I stood in line in 1977. I was in line. I was a Star Wars geek.
So to follow up,
Yes. And then on Empire Strikes Back, as it ended, I actually stood up in the middle of a theater and said, "It's not over." Wait. Something else is going to happen. And my friends all looked at me and went, "Dude, the credits are rolling. It's over." So I was very excited to get that. And I really did not realize that I was going to do Revenge of the Jedi until I landed in London, England for costume fittings. And I walk on the set, and it's the Ewok village, and I see Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and it's like, I know what we're doing. We're not doing Blue Harvest. I was a little bit very immature too, because I was a kid. I was 22 when I did this.
And that's the thing I like about this book is, and I'll tell you, I have a favorite scene that Kevin shared, and I love, there's a chapter in here, and if you haven't read the book, I'll just kind of do a quick little thing. But he finds himself, this is the first time being away from home. He's, the outside world's going on while he's doing all this hard work in this Ewok costume that he can't see and all those things. but what I love is that when he's telling me about, he's on top of the ATST and the sun is setting, and the crew members are like, hurry up, we got to get this shot, we got to get this shot. And he's sitting up there, and his best friend is getting married, and he missed the wedding, and he's sitting there getting home. In fact, you're crying right now. I see you. And it was just an emotional time. He's missing home. He's got this huge responsibility and doing these things that are pushing him to his limit, which is also very, making him feel confident and inspiring and all those things, but yet fear is definitely taking place. So that's where I love where he's sitting on the ATST and the sun is setting. Everybody's yelling to get the shot, and he's missing home. He's missing his friends, his family, the outside real life. And it just captures that whole thing about growing up and doing these things and getting sucked into the entertainment industry. So, and meeting great people. I mean, who would have thought 40 years later, here we are talking about this and meeting Hiroshi from Japan, a famous artist of Ultraman and Godzilla and all the things you do. And Eric later on, in the Ewok movies. So it's an incredible universe,
Sure.
truly. And that's what I love about this book, is just seeing how everything comes into play.
Yeah,
into life.
I remember reading that. That was a great part of the book. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems to really capture it all.
For sure. So everybody come by and get a copy of the book if you haven't got it. That way you can get the sketch, because you're not going to be able to get it unless you get it here. And come by and say hello to everybody over there in the Ewok village over there.
Yes.
We're all in the same area. Oh, you have a question?
A statement. I wanted to say the art is fantastic. I haven't read the book yet. We just bought it over today, but watching him do a quick sketch in the book was phenomenal. So fast and looks great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well that's it for this panel. Want to thank Tracey and Kevin and Hiroshi for coming up here and sharing, Kevin and Tracey sharing his journey to Endor, and that's it. Thank you everybody for joining
Hope
us.
to see you this weekend. Thank you.
You can come by our table. Really.